All right, greetings, greetings, my friends. You know what? I'm going to talk about something I never talk about, but it's kind of interesting. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to make a very quick little live here. Not going to spend a great deal of time on this. But I mean, it's a little FYI because Texas does its own thing, right? So we have our own energy grid. We definitely have our own way of talking. And when it comes to Texas laws, well, we do that differently as well. So take a second. Hey, Hoppy Hoppy, how are you doing? I hope you are doing well. So let's take a minute, listen to AB. He's going to talk a little bit about a fellow YouTuber who has unfortunately found his way into a Texas jail. And that would be a man named Benny Keys. And I think most people came to know about Benny Keys through the Summer Wells case. And so this definitely is not going to be a person that, you don't know who this is about. But let's take a minute and listen just a second to AB.
Charge number 1, tampering with a witness. Warrant type. That's a municipal warrant from Plano PD.
So clearly,
custody.
Benny is in Texas.
4/22/2024, which would be today. That's funny shit. Now, I guess everything's not showing up. There's 3, which I don't know how many more you really want showing up, but fuck, this is some serious stuff. I guess she didn't take the $10,000 prize there, Monty Hall. Stalking.
He's got
Jody C. Brown style in capital fucking STALKING. Those are in capital letters. The whole thing. That's capital stalking.
Hell like. Yeah.
Capital stalking in Texas must be different. Bond held insufficient.
All right. So we stalking Texas style, right? So it's felony stalking. Well, and unfortunately, you can get in a lot of trouble. It can take as much up to 10 years of Benny Keys's freedom, and penalties can go as high as $10,000 per charge. And he's dealing with at least 3, although it looks like possibly 6. So he could be in a great deal of trouble here in the state of Texas. And apparently it does have something to do with some girlfriend or something. Like I said, I don't keep up with Mr. Keys. I'm sure that plenty of you do. But for me, I don't much. It's just not, my kind of content. So the stalking is a criminal offense, and it can be identified by repeatedly following, harassing, or threatening another person. And it is to a sufficient degree that one would feel distressed or fearful about their safety. And when you add in, the difference between felony stalking as opposed to a misdemeanor, then obviously that is the difference in the severity of the crime as well as potential consequences. The felony stalking is obviously dramatically a hell of a lot more serious. It's not a dramatically pronounced level. It's a hell of a lot more if you're in Texas. So the standard is not really different. It really is the difference between the felony stalking versus misdemeanor really is about what the person's actually doing. Are they wantonly following? Are they getting out at red lights and beating on your window? Are you waking up at 3 a.m. and they're peering in through your window? You caught yourself a felony charge, correct? So it's not a good thing to have here in Texas. It upsets the Texas Rangers. You know what I mean? Now, when they say bond held insufficient, well, again, old Benny is in a lot of trouble. basically in Texas laws, when they say bond held insufficient, what that means is that the previous bail amount that was paid is now found to be insufficient. When this happens, it's usually because the person broke the conditions of their bail or their bond. So if they break, if for example, if they're said, okay, give us, $5,000 or $25,000, and you have to stay 100 yards away from the target of your stalking, correct? Well, if suddenly you show up outside their house in the middle of the night screaming and yelling and acting a fool, not saying that's what Benny did, but if you were to do that and you were in Texas, then the judge wouldn't be happy with you. And he would say, hey, you know what? Previously, I did a 20 keys and he seems to not understand that I mean business. So let's go ahead and just revoke bail and put his butt in jail. And maybe we'll come back with, let's say, $100,000. So basically, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like Mr. Keys violated the terms of the bail and that he was in contact with the target of the stalking offense or wantonly following, correct? Or repeated phone calls late into the middle of the night. And some Texas judge said, hey, Mr. Keys is not paying attention. Let's get his attention. And so that's about it. So it wasn't a very long video, but it kind of opens up a little bit of awareness for what could he have done wrong. So Hybrid says, how long is he in for? That we don't know. This is just breaking today, and it's a bit unclear exactly what happened. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think it's interesting because the bond held insufficient, that is a phrase that we don't often run into. People don't often talk about it, even in like the true crime community. But that is, in fact, what it means, that the court makes the judge makes a decision that whatever the previous bail amount was is no longer sufficient. And usually that is because the defendant is engaging in wantonly open flaunting of the judge's ruling. So, most of the time it's just somebody's twisting off and saying, you can't control me. And the Texas judge says, hold my beer. And then they do control them. So there are all kinds like bond revocations and forfeitures that happen under very different circumstances. But essentially, if a judge holds a bond as insufficient, then the judge is not happy with the defendant's actions. And so they say, go get them, go arrest them, bring them back to the jail. They usually let them sit there a couple of days, let them cool their, maybe not a couple of days, maybe 30 hours, let them cool their heels for a little while, and then they'll pull them back in and make a decision. Do they increase bail, make it hurt, 100K maybe? Or do they just go ahead and hold them without bail until there's a final judgment on the case? And so, yeah, Mr. Keys is in a very difficult situation. This is not a little slap on the wrist that I don't know what he did. And maybe you guys know. Anybody in the side chat know what happened? What he has done in Summer's case alone with his friends online in a group should put him in prison. See, Rachel, I'm so out of touch with Benny. I know who he is. I know some of the antics, like when everybody was in Tennessee searching for Summer. I just don't know anything. I don't really know much about him right now. I don't see any drug charges in Vine Link. So what were, Melissa, can you see all 6 charges? Do you know what all 6 were? The big one was felony stalking, right? Melissa says he missed one of his court cases and blamed it on his mom, who gave him a Valium, but he dirty deleted that. Oh my God. So why would she give him a Valium if he has to go to court? That is crazy. He moved on, didn't see the picture of him in Autumn. There's some other creators following and exposing his dirty deeds for awareness and to get him off YouTube and away from harming people. Yeah, AB does know. AB's paid a lot of attention to this particular group of people. Yeah. But I don't. It's not really, it's hard to say. I don't find it interesting. I get irritated by a lot of it. Yesterday I saw 4. I didn't look at it yet today. My understanding, I thought there were 3 charges that you could see, and then there were 3 that for whatever reason were not showing up. Hey, not surprised. How are you? I can't keep up. No one can, Martian Planet. Look, we got a lot going on in the true crime community right now. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? There's so much to comment on in the prosecution of Chad Daybell. So I'll be working on that tonight with David Warwick's testimony specifically. So that will be coming out later tonight or first thing in the morning, depending on how long it takes me to, edit and everything. That's crazy. The stuff going on with Christopher Proudfoot, Katie, and Seth is just off the hook. Nuts, isn't it? It's just crazy. The Watts Island trolls, I think, are back. So whomever it was that was previously bullying, and I mean a significant level of bullying that was happening during the Chris Watts days, apparently they're back now, and they're really targeting true crime creators that are discussing the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, to the tune of even making threats against Pascal on the Pascal show. I mean, there's some really big channels that are being harassed, some good creators that have proven themselves to be responsible and empathetic to the actors in the story. So I don't know what there is to do about the bullies. I do believe, it's my opinion, that these are a group of people that were initially organized. I think, I could be completely wrong, I own that, but it seems, in my estimation, that this could be part of the whole scientific skeptic attack on true crime creators, because they don't believe that true crime creators that they don't have enough social standing, that they haven't gone to college or have a professional code of ethics that they have to follow. I'm talking as if I'm scientific skeptic. And because of that, they should not be allowed to have an opinion. Now, look, I'm completely of far end of the spectrum away from that idea. I think that YouTube themselves, that they envisioned a platform for people to state their opinions about whatever they wanted to talk about, as long as it was legal, as long as it was in the confines of the law. And that YouTube is a place that people can present their talents, their artistic value, just a social media platform where they can meet friends and hang out with like-minded people. So I find it interesting and a little embarrassing for this group of people that they think somehow they are superior to others, and that they know more than the original creators of YouTube. I think it's a little bit sad and off-putting. If you want that type of professional journalism bound by a code of ethics and best practices standards, then watch ABC, go to CNN, right? YouTube is a place by the people for the people, correct? So no, I think it's silly. If you're a YouTube creator, if you're intelligent, you can listen to details of a story, you can make connections perhaps that other people haven't yet noticed, and you can present it in a way that you have a personality that is interesting and fun. Why shouldn't you have a channel? This idea that somehow you're not allowed to have a YouTube channel unless you have a college degree, that sounds far more about scientific skeptic than it does about YouTube creators who are minding their own business. That's just my opinion, correct? So I don't know, this bullying that is happening, it is vicious. It's hard for we subscribers to see the level, but having been a target of such bullying in the past, I can definitely comment. There's some very scary people out there sending some pretty aggressive, frightening, even violent imagery saying, leave YouTube, kill your channel, or we'll kill you. And I was even followed to work. There's some unbalanced people out there, but y'all know that. So I don't know. I think if you are going to comment on true crime stories and whatnot, I think you have to be very careful to say this is my opinion, or my wild speculation leads me to this particular idea. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. I think it's responsible to say I'm only giving my opinion and I don't have any special information that anybody else doesn't have. I'm just standing at the water cooler having a conversation. I think it's completely appropriate. I don't see anything wrong with it, but you do have to, have some empathy for the people involved. In the case of Christopher Proudfoot, who seems to be this group's newest poster boy, they think that it is just terrible the way that Christopher Proudfoot has been treated, that Seth has been held up as this type of kind of, saint, the patron saint of lost kids, maybe. And that Christopher Proudfoot did not deserve the backlash that he got. But I would say this: if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it might be a duck, correct? And when you have a man who says with apparent glee that he took his belt off and or told the kid to go get the belt, and he hits a kid with special needs, a kid that is on the spectrum, and he hits him with a belt. Why? Because the kid himself was not wearing a belt. Doesn't that suggest a violent person? If you don't have enough common sense to say, hey, I'm dealing with a kid who is very smart, who is on the spectrum and may not be altogether organized, it's probably not appropriate to hit him in general. And it is definitely not appropriate to hit a kid with a weapon. I would kind of think, I would expect Christopher Proudfoot, if he's so smart and such a great guy, like some YouTube creators have suggested, what went wrong? What was the major malfunction when he took a weapon and struck a boy with special needs? So, no, I don't think that Christopher Proudfoot has been unfairly targeted. I don't think that people are making up lies about him. I think, according to Peter Hyatt, who has a great deal of respect from sober and intelligent people, I think when it quacks like a duck, you're pretty safe to say that just may be a duck. He took a weapon against a kid who is on the spectrum, and I am very comfortable saying that was a violent act that was way out of proportion for the offense for which the child was struck. He simply didn't wear his belt. He forgot his belt. That's all. That's enough to hit a kid with a weapon? It's not right. I don't care who you are. That's not okay. It is not okay. So here's the thing that makes my blood run cold. If he's willing to do that with a belt against a kid on the spectrum, simply because the boy was not wearing his belt, right? Can you imagine what he would do to a kid who might have actually needed to be punished? Could have gotten really ugly in that house. Bad things could have happened. Isn't that right, Christopher? Something to think about. If they're willing to do it in front of your face, what must they be hiding behind your back? And that is what is frightening. Here's another point. Hold on just a second. Let me pull this up. It's going to take me 1 second. You guys just talk among yourselves, okay? It will take me 2 seconds to get to what I want to show. Hold on. I could sing as you guys waited, but you wouldn't enjoy that very much. Hold, please. Almost there. 1 minute more. There it is. I've got it. By George, she's got it. She's got it. She's got it. I think she's really got it. Present. Share screen. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, there we go. So what you are looking at is you are looking at the man with the weapon that he saves for Lost Boys. Yes, the ass of Tennessee. And you're looking at the father of the missing kid, Sebastian Rogers. The father is the one standing there with his hands in his pockets, showing unbelievable levels of restraint, in my opinion. Mr. Proudfoot, however, seems to be all up in the middle of Seth Rogers' business. And I don't know about you, but if somebody invaded my personal space to that level that we see here in this picture, I might not could be held responsible for my actions. You know what I mean? So couple this, what we're looking at right here, with the way that this jackass bragged in multiple interviews about using a weapon against a special needs kid. I'm going to ask you, does this seem like a man who may have a little problem with anger? Is it possible? Does it look like Mr. Proudfoot has an anger problem? Yeah, where his feet are, Mystic Firefly, it would have taken one push on his shoulders and he'd have been flat on his back. So the fact that Seth stands there and does not retaliate against Christopher Proudfoot, again, I'm going to believe what my eyes are telling me. Seth is showing remarkable restraint. So who do you think is the bad guy? Let's be honest about this. So this feeling that Chris has something over Seth. Apparently, Seth, okay, so Seth has talked about this, right? Christopher Proudfoot threatened Seth. He threatened him saying the following. Again, I'm just going to ask you again. Do you think that this sounds like a good-hearted, level-headed, empathetic, rational human being? Just question. So Sebastian goes missing. Seth is looking everywhere. All day long, he's out in the woods, he's looking. He's got friends that he's had for many years that are police officers or sheriff's department deputies who have taken time off work to come and search with him, with Seth, their friend, showing long-term friendships, right? That's a sign of a mentally stable, healthy person. He gets in touch with Seth and he says, you got to quit this searching. You're making me and Katie look bad. And I'm paraphrasing, okay? But essentially saying you're making us look bad. I don't want, you got to quit doing this, because people are saying we look guilty because we're not out there searching and you are out there searching. So we look guilty, right? And in the process of this, direction, telling Seth what he will or won't do with his time, Chris says the following. He says, it would be a real shame if I told everybody about Sebastian. If I told everybody about Sebastian, then it would make people stop looking for him. Does that sound normal? Does that sound like a reasonable, empathetic, healthy person to go to the biological father of a teenager who has been missing for a month and threaten him with, I'm going to tell stories about your son that is going to make other people stop looking for him? Does that sound okay to threaten someone with their child? Yeah, it doesn't sound right to me either. And so with more listening and trying to pick up on what was actually meant by what Christopher Proudfoot was saying, here's what he was actually getting at. And I'm going to warn you guys, this is going to really upset you. You're going to get angry because you're good, decent people. You're going to get angry. Here's what this asshole said to Seth. That we have learned that Sebastian had that he was the victim of sexual assault, correct? Most everybody has heard about this. It is factual, legal. There were legal parties involved, and it really did happen to him, correct? So this jackass, Christopher Proudfoot, he says to Seth that because Sebastian is the victim of sexual assault, that means that Sebastian is going to become an offender. And that is why he doesn't allow his daughter to be around Sebastian. Not that Sebastian has offended. This jackass is saying that because he was victimized, then he too will become an offender. And that is absolutely incorrect. That doesn't have any resemblance to the actual statistics that we have on this. The statistics are misquoted, right? The actual statistics are, of those who are offenders, a large majority, a large percentage of them were also victimized when they were kids. However, people take that fact and they misquote it by saying that, A large number of people who were sexually assaulted will become perpetrators. That is 100% incorrect. If you are a victim of child sexual assault, it is actually a low chance that you will become a perpetrator. It is a small chance that you, not a big chance, a little small chance. Of the greater number of people that were assaulted in childhood, a very small number become offenders. But if you only look at the people that are offenders, the majority of them were victimized. So those are completely unrelated statistics, and people misquote them all the time. They don't understand the research or how to interpret what the findings were. So it takes a really cruel human being, I'm talking about cruel, or someone with an agenda, to say your missing child is going to be revealed to the world as having been a victim of sexual assault, and no one will look for him anymore because they will realize that since he's a victim, he probably will be an offender, and nobody likes offenders. I ask you, does this sound like a nice guy on any level? So, no. If it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, it's an abusive jackass. That's it. Can't help but suspect that Christopher could have been the actual offender, and this 13-year-old was a BS story they told. It's hard to know. I would not make that. I would not make that leap. There's just too many possibilities. But what I do know is what I'm safe with is I think that Seth demonstrated great restraint, and he demonstrated a caring, empathetic person, not only toward his own child, the victim, but against the 17-year-old that assaulted him. That obviously someone had assaulted the 17-year-old, and the 17-year-old needed to be put into treatment to get help. So he responded like a grown-ass man. He responded like a loving, caring person, rather than Christopher Proudfoot jerk, right? Yeah, T-spiracy, pretty awful. It's a terrible thing, but he did in fact threaten Seth with saying, I'm going to tell the whole world that Sebastian was the victim of sexual assault, and everybody will stop searching for him because, he's going to be an offender since he was assaulted. So it's terrible. Where is that 17-year-old? Not. He is 25 now, right? I think it all happened out in California, and that's all that I know. I don't know anything else. 13 is the age that Chris said he smacked Sebastian with a belt. I am pro spanking, but spanking is supposed to be successfully implemented and over long before age 13. There's a lot of nuanced Candily Stone, Chris and BK are both protected by their moms, both mentally unstable. I got another one for you, Candily. Never forget Christopher Lee Watts. He was mama's boy. And in a lot of these cases, there is that enmeshed relationship with mom, where mom sort of paves the way, protects the child, never allows the child to experience consequences for their behavior. The dads are usually, in the background, kind of manipulated and controlled by the mom. So yeah, there's a pattern there, Candily. Yeah. It is such a mess, T-spiracy. It is such a mess. So, yeah. Mama issues run rampant in these things. Majority of serial killers have serious mommy issues. All right. So there's so much going on, but one more thing I want to note. You see where Christopher Proudfoot's foot is? You see where his leg is? He intentionally would have had to have stepped forward, pushing his thigh and hip toward, what would be Seth's protected area, correct? Do you think that was purposeful? Do you think this is a man who operates through fear and intimidation? Going by what we know, from his own words, and then we look at where he said, I'm going to tell you this straight up. My husband would have been in jail because the minute that guy's foot landed in between my husband's feet like that, he'd have been knocked on his butt. And I'm sure most of our husbands would have it, right? This is shocking. This is absolutely shocking. So I don't know. I always felt like Barry Morphew. Hey, Thomas Randall, how are you doing? Yes, Thomas. I didn't think about that, but Madeline Soto, Stephen, what's his name? Stearns? Anyway, the stepdad, Stephen. His relationship with his mom, same way. Yep. This picture here would have me throwing a right hook if I was in Seth's shoes. Just saying, a man doesn't step into another man's space like that without risking that. Completely agree, Illusion. And Stearns, thank you, T. Spiracy. I appreciate your help. You have to wonder if that's what Christopher Proudfoot was hoping for, right? Because can you imagine if he had been able to say, oh, look, Seth, punched me in the head. Look what Seth did. He's a violent, aggressive man. So again, kudos to Seth. He did the right thing by refusing to be pushed. He did. But man, that right there, I'm telling you, Christopher Proudfoot is showing us who he is. And so far, he looks like the kind of jackass that might disappear a kid that he doesn't like. Yeah, Christopher would love to play the victim, especially right now. Absolutely agree. The control Seth is using here is crazy. I totally agree. That's me. I would have even caught a charge if it were me, and I don't have that protected area. Same. Absolutely. I don't know that I would have had it in me not to react. I think I would have pushed back. Hey, Blonde PT. Very well could have been Chris's goal. Either it punks Seth and acts like a bully, or he gets to paint Seth as violent. I could see Chris having exactly that mindset. Me too. I think it was planned. I think it was orchestrated. Yeah. Wow. It's unbelievable. He's definitely 100% not in doubt in my mind that he's the reason Sebastian's not around. Hey, Nancy Drew, how are you doing, my friend? All right. So there's a lot happening in the true crime community right now. Karen Reed case. I haven't even spoken about the Karen Reed case in my channel. I don't even know when I would have time, to tell you the truth. It's just so much going on. But I think that the true crime community, there is a group of people, a relatively small group, not in the tens of thousands for sure. There's a relatively small group of people who are showing a great deal of self-importance. They believe that their opinion is the right opinion. They believe that they know more than YouTube or anybody else, and they are actually engaging in very bad behavior because they think that they're smarter than everybody else. And anytime you do that, anytime you put yourself into a godlike position, you're demonstrating your own personal level of troublesome narcissism. Look, my question to this group of bullies, trolls that are trolling the people that are covering the disappearance of Sebastian, why do you need to do that? Why not just focus on your own channel and your own content? Why is it that all of your content is really about you bullying another YouTuber? Why is that? It kind of gives the impression that you don't have the tolerance to follow other cases. You don't have the ability to consider facts versus opinions. And it's hard to understand how one group can hold themselves up as our way of thinking, our opinions are the right opinions, and we are entitled to bully and malign people that think differently than we do. You don't really have that right to do that. You're not smarter than other people. You're bonding over this idea that you know more than others. And that's not true. You're just demonstrating that you're one of the mean girls, So just leave everybody alone. Let them do their own channel. You guys are coming in hard on CJ in a situation that was really a setup, in my opinion, or it was just an oversight. But nevertheless, CJ has had feet on the ground. CJ has driven hours every morning and every night, going and spending all day long, sweating, hot, walking through the woods, helping anyone that he could help who was looking for signs of Sebastian, using his own money to pay for his gas. Why are you attacking him because you don't like that he has an opinion? He's got far more room to talk than you do. All you're doing is sitting on your panel being mean to people. At least he's out there. He's trying to help and make a difference. So we have to be careful of virtue signaling and self-important, narcissistic supply. We need to be careful of that. It's not okay. Unfortunately, when these extraordinary crimes happen, people are interested and they want to talk about it. And sometimes, here's the truth. If you bring the FBI in, by the FBI's own white papers, by their own research, by their own books and literature that have been produced by their specialists, their detectives, agents, the reality is that when a kid goes missing, the perpetrator 9 times out of 10 is literally someone who lives in the home. That is the FBI. They know that. So why are you guys building yourselves up to be so important and so wonderful, pretending like you don't notice that Christopher Proudfoot brags about being violent against children? Why is that? I don't know why, but you should quit and you should just let YouTube creators tend to their own channel, and people will go to the channels that they enjoy and they'll go listen to the creators that they understand and relate to. And all of this bullying and stuff, why do you want to be a part of it? It's just very, very strange to me. I don't know why anybody would want to stalk another YouTuber, call CPS on them. This happened to me. One of you crazy people out there followed me. You waited at my house so you could follow me to work. Don't you have a life? Like, why would I be so interesting to you that you would literally follow me to my job? And then once you found out where I was at, then you start making phone calls to the people work there. It's weird. Stop being weird. Build your own life. Be happy and quit trying to virtue signal. It's a little embarrassing for you for you to believe that you're better than everybody else. If CJ is helping let me understand. Hold on. If CJ is helping investigators, he is it. Whoops. Hold on. Sorry about that. It rolled up out of my view. Okay. CJ should not be on panels blabbing about what they are doing or finding. Well, so I don't know what that means, Mystic Firefly. I thought the uproar was because someone, let's see, what was it? Someone came over and talked to him, said hello, or he went to them, said hello, and they said something like they were putting up posters, but the Proud Feet people were coming behind them, taking them down. And that person's voice got recorded on CJ's live, I believe. Is that it? Do I have that right or is that wrong? Exactly, Blonde PT. And most people are like that. No, it's a misquoted fact. Peter Hyatt told Seth the key to finding Sebastian is Katie. I am not going to disagree with the great Peter Hyatt. I 100% agree. Okay, so is that what has everybody upset with CJ, Mystic Firefly? Okay, here it is. Last week, CJ had sitting up on Brittany's panel nightly. Well, I think they've been friends for a long time. But how is it a problem with confidentiality is what I don't, he's not a medical provider. He doesn't provide medical care. So it's not a breach in confidentiality. He's not a law enforcement. He's just walking around looking, right? Yeah, it was really great, Martian Planet. He is providing search, and the search information is like where they search that day or where they're going to search. Is that the kind of information that you're talking about? He is Blonde PT. Yeah, I really enjoy listening to him. Yeah, so the person that made the video saying F off if you don't like us working together, that would be Seth. But this idea that Seth and Christopher were working together happened after Christopher was so aggressive towards Seth at the truck. Then somewhere over 12 hours, Seth comes out and says, "Oh wait, we're working together." But now they're not working together. Katie and Christopher are not responding to the searchers. CJ has a channel, Martian Planet. He has a true crime channel, and he does go on allegedly with Brittany J. He goes on her channel in the evening quite a bit to like talk about the case and everything. Okay, so he's talking about where they were searching and or where they will be searching. Okay. Now, help me understand, Mystic Firefly. This is bad information. Why? Like, are the searches supposed to be secret, or have the police asked them not to divulge the search locations? Yeah, so Christopher Proudfoot This confrontation at the truck that you're looking at right here on the screen, this happened when they were about to have a vigil for Sebastian, right? They were going to pray and, do all that. So Christopher Proudfoot comes out, assaults Seth at the truck. There's some severe words spoken, yelling, nose to nose, like it was intense. And does Christopher Proudfoot stay for the vigil? No. He gets in the car with his wife, Katie, where they then go to a Harley Davidson store and start shopping for motorcycles. Now, the aftermath is that Christopher Proudfoot says, no, we were not searching for motorcycles. We were organizing a ride for Sebastian, an awareness that for all the Harley bikers to get together and do a ride for Sebastian. Correct? But nobody's heard anything about it. And they were, in fact, seen sitting on motorcycles and looking at motorcycles. So, again, it's just more of Christopher Proudfoot's mouth, But I don't think that CJ, I don't think the searchers are working with investigators. I think investigators are investigating what's going on. I think they're doing interviews and they're looking. But I think there are searchers there who are looking for anything, a candy wrapper, a flashlight. There were divers there not long ago. I don't think they're working with, they're not, they don't get badges to become deputies. That is not the role. The role is just, I'm going to go volunteer my time and I'm going to walk around and look and see if I see something. Right, Illusion. He wouldn't lie now, would he? No, I think he's pretty well proven to us he will lie. I heard today someone asked Chris, why were you at the motorcycle shop and not at the vigil? He said, that was 2 years ago. Why are you wearing t-shirts with Sebastian's missing picture? Right? Did he really say that? Because in the picture, he's got a photograph of Sebastian on his t-shirt, a missing photograph. Wow. Unbelievable. Hey, keep up the chatter. Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, the picture says everything we need to know. The fact that he would push up against Seth physically, I think he was trying to get hit. I think he wanted Seth to react in a violent way to further Christopher Proudfoot's narrative. And thankfully, Seth kept himself composed. But no man stands up against another man like that unless he's got a problem. Unless he's got a problem. Oh, I think so. Whether he was trying to intimidate him or he was trying to get him to hit him, right? Either one, So I sure can't know this for sure, but it occurs to me that Christopher is quite used to saying and doing whatever he wants to, and nobody ever stands up to him. True, and that kind of makes you wonder what kind of pull does he have? He seems to act with impunity in situations where most people would be concerned about the response of law enforcement, right? And certainly, I think he and Katie have been treated with kid gloves with these various law enforcement agencies in this area. So my curiosity would be, well, I will say this. One person I know is really, really, really digging deep, trying to get background information on Katie. And she is in shock because it's like Katie has been erased from the planet. The only information with Katie Proudfoot has only been within the last couple of years. that the time in the military and before her childhood and whatnot, it's non-existent. It's just not out there. It's not in any of the databases. It's nowhere. It's not on friends pages, nothing. Now, in the military, they do what they call sheep dip a person. And if they have, depending on what kind of job they're going to do, if they have top secret security clearance, if they're going to be doing undercover type of social secret service or special forces work, they will. That's exactly right, Illusion. That they will go and they'll clean up any avenue of investigation about this person. And when you see that, just like RAS Illusion says, when you see that, when you see somebody who doesn't seem to have existed, usually it was a military sheep dip process where the person was a part of, they had security clearance, they were special forces, and they're a protected individual. So if that is true of either Katie and or Chris, because they were in the military, Air Force at the same time, that might explain why they're acting with impunity and nobody seems to have the courage to stand up to them. It may explain why Christopher just gets on these YouTube channels and lies his behind off and doesn't seem to even be worried that he's going to be revealed as a liar. So perhaps maybe they are high level military assets. Maybe they are. An E15. Let me see what Martian planet said. Do we know if anyone has an update on Nina? I wonder if she received the Christopher Proudfoot post YouTube confession business. Agree with you, Kate, for Big Little Voices. It's a good thing Seth was in a semi-public place, not normal for a man to overtake personal space and block a man. Huge red flags, not the first ones from CP. No, I 100% agree with Kate. And I definitely think that Christopher Proudfoot is showing us who he is. And he's a man who rules with fear and intimidation. And I think that's it. Kim, welcome, my friend. I hope you are doing great. Hi, AV. And the whole jujitsu thing, yeah. So I'm not sure about the E15. That doesn't seem right. So a third E9 element is the senior enlisted person of each service, sergeant major of the Marine Corps, master chief petty officer of the Navy, and the chief master sergeant of the Air Force. They are the spokespersons of enlisted forces at the highest level of their services. I don't know how. And y'all saw the documentation that said E15? Officers' ranks go up to 10 with Air Force. So 15Q is Air Force enlisted conversion list. Maybe, but Q is the highest security clearance, right? That's a limited number of people that have a Q designation. Hold on, I'm looking. Hold on. Looking at job titles and 15Q. Okay, so 15Q for United States Air Force, command and control battle management operations, command and control systems technician. And what did she tell us? She's a security tech, right? She installs security systems. Network intelligence analyst for cyber operations. Tactical unmanned aerial system, that's 15E. UAV. Huh. Well, if that's accurate, then she's Q level, which is really kind of crazy because that's a really small number of people. 15Q, air traffic control operator, Air Force, air traffic and airspace management tech, command and control systems tech. Okay, so we do keep getting that command and control. Here's another one, command and control systems tech for, I already read that one, command and control battle management. 15Q, air traffic controller, I did that one. 15Q, 15P, again, that is aviation operations specialist. Command and control battle management operations, air traffic and airspace management. So if that's accurate, and I'm just going, I'm being this is warrant, so that would be a warrant officer 150A is 15Q. She would have had her last 5 years of experience in front operations, control tower. Must successfully pass a class 4 flying duty medical examination approved by the director, U.S. Army Aero Medical Activity. Tactical team leader and shift leader. Maybe so, but she would be, if she's 15Q, she's a warrant officer. And she would have had clearance. All right. Maybe that explains the careful, maybe that explains why they don't seem too worried about the lies and misleading the public, his wanton, let's be honest, he's operating large equipment, she's installing security equipment, and yet they're living in a really expensive home. So, Maybe they both retired with security clearances. They're making a really fine retirement from the military and supplementing it with other work. Interesting, Candalee. CP called his friend to the sheriff's department to report Sebastian missing. We found out sheriff's offices are open from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Christopher called the office at 6:20 a.m. That's before they open. And he had called a buddy who worked there. See, right, Candalee? He is acting with impunity that no apparent care that people know he's lying. It's very strange. The dude even lied to Nancy Grace. Here is the link. What is the link for? Let me see. Oh, I don't have a way to. Yes. Well, now hold on. I'm not. So Diane said when you retire, so does your security clearance. However, you remain a special asset. And so the United States government takes care of those people. They're protected individuals. Oh, that's to verify the E15. Well, if that is true, then she has to have security clearance in order to do that job if she's a 15E. Youngest son teaches AIT for the Air Force out in California. Interesting, Illusion. Yeah. Well, it is a strange group of people in this tale. She's still in reserves, from what I understand. Yeah, even once she's finished with reserves, if she runs into any trouble at all, the United States Air Force is going to step up and help her, regardless of what it is. This was from 2016 when Seth petitions for Katie to pay his lawyer fees for the divorce because of her status in the military. She made substantially more money. They have a missing son. They still need to be investigated and not be allowed to bully. 100% Mystic Firefly. Totally agree. It's very, they do act as if they have no fear of being revealed. And that gives that, if this whole E15 thing is accurate, at least it gives you a little insight into why. I mean, they think they're above us, right? I mean, look how this man is acting. Absolutely agree. Yeah, I totally agree, Firefly. Totally agree. I mean, he all but stole that little girl from her mother, Nina. That was to act with such blatant impunity is terrible. All right. So lots going on in the true crime community right now. And least of all is the bullying of one group of true crime creators against another group. And I think it's inappropriate. And I think we should treat each other with respect. And we don't all have to agree. We don't all have to have the same theory or the same motivations for why we do YouTube. And frankly, I do hear quite a number of people complain about YouTube creators who have their PayPal up or they do super chats. Look, the reality is this. YouTube teaches us, we creators, they teach us how to make money on the YouTube platform. And one of the things they say is to invite people frequently to join your membership. Another is to stop and recognize people when they give super chats and make a big deal out of it, make them feel good, then they'll give more. The YouTube is teaching creators to do that. Just because you have an opinion that that's inappropriate and that's what is it called? Grifting. They're not breaking any rules or terms of service. They're doing what YouTube has trained them to do. And frankly, I mean, some creators are blatantly saying, if you don't give me this much money tonight, I'm not going to finish my show. And I give this much of my money away. But the point is, maybe they are giving away, but they're keeping a lot more than what they're giving away. So some people they're operating from a platform that this is their job, that they want to try to make a living out of a YouTube channel, and they're devoting a lot of hours. And why do you think you have the right to tell them they're wrong to do that? If people enjoy their company, if they like the way that they present their information, why shouldn't they be allowed the freedom to do that? And if I want to say, hey, this was a great show tonight, here's $5, why should I not do that? It doesn't make sense to me. Now, if they're lying, if they're saying, oh, I'm dying of cancer and I don't have any money for groceries and please, give me money, that's a little different. But we've got to get this under control. It's creating a really negative environment for the true crime community. Most of us just want to go around to our favorite creators' channels and listen to their take on it. Listen to their opinion. Like with Mystic Firefly tonight, I learned things from her that I was unaware of because I'm not really following the whole CJ story. And I definitely don't know anything about Benny Keys. But these are both people that are really well known in the YouTube community. And a lot of people do like them. A lot of people do like their reporting or their personalities. Just because I'm not really particularly following up a lot on Benny Keys, it doesn't give me the right to tell other people they're stupid if they do enjoy him. That's it. It's just inappropriate. We should stay in our own lane. Go to the channels you enjoy. Spend your time with creators and communities that are a good match for you. And forget about everybody else. Nobody should have the right to go around terrorizing creators because you don't like the way they do things. Got to be careful about that. Really, I believe that in my heart. There is a stark and plain difference between earnings and e-begging. Totally, yes, I would agree. I thought that it was very odd. This whole idea that I want to go gamble and I just sit around and say, I need money, y'all. I need you guys I need $500 for me to go gamble tonight. Give me more money. This is my gambling fund. Come on, I need it. I don't know that is earning that money. I think you're just trying to pressure people to give you money. But if you spend a lot of time and you plan out a show and you bring interesting people and you have good conversations or you're funny, then I don't have a problem paying people for their time. It doesn't bother me to do that. I think it's appropriate. I think it's the capitalistic American way, right? CP is a bully. He's aggressive in his language and his actions. I'm happy he's showing everyone who he really is. I pray he never gets custody of Faith. Yeah, Jackie, the thought of him having control of that little girl, it is a little scary for me. The interloper, definitely an interloper. It is suspected that Katie was not divorced before another man was coming around to see her, but I don't know for a fact. You don't need broke keys around when you have a lock picker like me. Love to poke at Benny with that. Hey, Elizabeth Lander. Yes, Elizabeth Lander, poor old Benny. He is in a Texas jail. Bond revocation. Yes, they put him in jail. They said that his bail was insufficient and he got locked up. All right. What some creators do not realize is YouTube is their full-time job. Absolutely, Combat Vet. There are people who are making a full-time position out of their YouTube channel. And then there's people like me. I don't have a set night or a set show. It's a hobby. It's a friendship. I enjoy coming here and talking about the trials and the true crime, stories with other people that like that kind of content. But I'm not making it my job, right? If I can come on, I do. And if I can't come on, then that's okay. But there's other shows that, 7:00 every night, they are fired up and they will do like a 3, 4, 5-hour show. You really going to tell me that someone who's putting in that kind of time investment and content planning, you're going to tell me they don't deserve remuneration for their time? If I'm going to go and sit for 2 or 3 hours and listen to this person, aren't they entertaining me? So no, I definitely, those channels that are doing that kind of work, yeah, completely give them money. Absolutely. Don't have any problem doing it. He's in Terrell, Texas. Yep. I hear a song being made. Go on, take the money and run. Ooh, Lord. All right. Enough of that. Listen, you guys are awesome. I appreciate y'all so much. If you have not subscribed, I wish you would, because I do not have a set time to come live and talk about these things. But if you subscribe and you hit the little bell that says you want all the notifications, then you'll know. You'll get a message from YouTube that says, hey, she's alive again and she's bitching and complaining again. All right. So I hope you will subscribe. If you have not already, please hit the thumbs up, because, let's face it, that's the only way the algorithm knows that I'm here. And other than that, I hope that you guys have a great evening. All right. And the next thing I'm going to be doing will be to do a reaction video to the testimony of one David Warwick. Mr. Felony Melanie Phibbs. Y'all have a good evening. Bye.